What if Dutch's entire downfall in Red Dead Redemption 2 could be traced back to a single moment? Some fans believe the trolley crash in St. Denis was a turning point that completely changed him, making him more impulsive, reckless, and morally corrupt. Could it be true? Or did Dutch's instability start long before that? Let's dive into this theory. Dutch's behavior changes dramatically after the trolley crash, leading some to believe that the head injury he sustained triggered a downward spiral. It makes sense, right? Head trauma is known to mess with impulse control and emotional regulation. After the crash, Dutch makes riskier decisions, becomes more paranoid, and trusts people like Micah over those who've been loyal to him. Arthur and Lenny even ask about his head injury several times, and Dutch himself says it was a serious hit. The theory makes sense. Dutch starts acting erratically after this moment, but let's not jump to conclusions just yet. Wasn't he already unstable before the crash? Dutch's behavior isn't entirely different after the crash. Sure, things escalate, but the cracks in Dutch's leadership start showing before St. Denis. Arthur admits early on that Dutch has changed since they first joined the gang. He was a visionary, but by the time the game starts, his plans are already falling apart. He's more unpredictable and manipulative, trusting people like Micah, who only make things worse. So the question is, did the crash really change Dutch, or was he already heading down this path? Let's take a look at the symptoms of traumatic brain injury. Impulse control problems, emotional outbursts, paranoia. These are all things that Dutch starts exhibiting after the crash. It makes sense, right? After taking that hit, he's less strategic, more reactionary. His plans become less about long-term survival and more about short-term gain. But here's the kicker. Dutch was already acting impulsively before the crash. Remember the bank robbery, the disagreements with Hosea over the train heist? These were not well-thought-out plans. They were spontaneous, risky moves. Dutch's leadership had already begun to falter. So yes, the crash might have exacerbated his problems, but it didn't cause them. Dutch's ideals were already crumbling, and the crash only made him more impulsive and reckless in the decisions he made afterward. Dutch's downfall wasn't just about one bad decision after the crash, it was about his growing disillusionment with his own ideals. In the early days, Dutch wanted freedom for the gang, but by the time we see him, he's more focused on power and control. He starts seeing the gang less as a family and more as a means to an end. And that's when we see the cracks, when Dutch's vision for the gang turns into something darker. So, what's your take, bro? Is Dutch's breakdown the result of a head injury, or was he already headed down that path? Could the crash have worsened things, or was it just a matter of time before Dutch lost control? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.